Ted Cruz reveals that he actually knew Donald Trump was lying. There was no fraud. He said this back in 2020. We have the recording because a Fox News producer leaked it to MSNBC. Here's the irony of it all. We are so far in the abyss, ladies and gentlemen, that a politician telling the truth in 2020 is national news in 2023. Here it is.
It can't just be, somebody tweeted this. It's got to be demonstrable facts that can be laid out with evidence, because that's what a court of law is going to look to, not just an allegation, but actual facts. And so, I'm hopeful. I hope when Rudy comes on the show tomorrow, he has some of those facts, and I hope the legal team continues to lay out the specific evidence, because that's what it's going to take to prevail in court.
Yeah, Ted. Rudy lied so much, the man lost his license to practice. Do you know how much lying a lawyer has to do to lose their license to practice? All right. So Ted Cruz being exposed as the hypocrite we have always known him to be. Now, remember when the bromance started between Trump and Teddy? Here it is.
If I could say, remember Lion, I won't say Lion Ted, I refuse to say it. Lion Ted holds that Bible high, puts it down, and then he lies.
Donald is a bully. The man is utterly amoral.
In just 15 days, the people of Texas are going to re-elect a man who has become a really good friend of mine. We had our little difficulties, right? But actually, if you remember, the beginning, it was a love fest. He is choking like a dog because he's losing so badly. We have to put him away tomorrow.
This man is a pathological liar, a narcissist at a level I don't think this country's ever seen.
I'm proud to have worked hand in hand with President Trump to repeal job-killing regulations that were hammering the state of Texas.
I think he's crazy. Honestly, I think he's crazy. Nobody has helped me more with your tax cuts, with your regulation, with all of the things that we're doing, including military and our vets, than Senator Ted Cruz. Nobody.
Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
So will you support him as the nominee?
I'm going to beat him for the nomination.
That's not
He
answering
is
the
not.
question, Senator.
I am answering the question. Donald Trump will not be the nominee.
He's leading right now. You
Donald
just looked
Trump
in that
will
camera
not
and
be
said
the
he's
nominee.
a coward. Will you support him as the nominee?
Donald Trump will not be the nominee. In 2020, Donald Trump will be overwhelmingly reelected as president of the United States.
Yep. You see, Ted Cruz defies medical science every day by standing upright with no backbone. Ted, the man called your wife ugly. He said your daddy killed JFK. How do you still encourage anyone to support the shenanigans of Donald Trump? This is going to be interesting. Obviously, this is going to be more. Yeah, a lot more. Let's put it up. Senator Ted Cruz, out of Texas, recorded in a call with a Fox News business host, urging her to stick to the facts. That's your background. Stick to the facts on her coverage of the 2020 election. He wants somebody at Fox News to tell the truth. All right. Obviously, the producer thought this was a problem, so the recording started. How dare you tell us at Fox News to tell the truth? There's more. It can't just be, he says, somebody tweeted this. It's got to be demonstrable facts that can be laid out with evidence, because that's what a court of law is going to look to. Not just an allegation, but actual facts. That's what he said. Okay. But Cruz went on to take another route, going to the floor of Congress to proclaim that lawmakers could not in good faith certify the 2020 election if there were questions about it. There's more. Let me be clear. I am not arguing for setting aside the result of this election. He's talking out of three sides at this point. All of us are faced with two choices, both of which are lousy. That's what Cruz told his colleagues. One choice is vote against the objection. And tens of millions of Americans will see a vote against the objection as a statement that voter fraud doesn't matter, isn't real, and shouldn't be taken seriously. And a great many of us don't believe that. On the other hand, he says, most, if not all of us, believe we should not set aside the results of an election just because our candidate may not have prevailed. And so I endeavored to look for door number 3, the third option. And for that, I looked to history, to the precedent of the 1876 election, the Hayes-Tilden election, where this Congress appointed an electoral commission to examine claims of voter fraud. 5 House members, 5 senators, 5 Supreme Court justices examined the evidence, rendered a judgment. Yeah. All right. What's the reality here? All of them are play actors. That's the reality. Tucker Carlson, he doesn't have any respect for his viewers. He continues to spew rhetoric because it makes him money. Definition of sellout. Ted Cruz, obviously, not drinking the Kool-Aid, just acts like he does in public. Lindsey Graham, another one, who used to talk with common sense, but no more. Mitch McConnell was compromised since day one. So what does this say? It says that they are okay with being simply actors and nothing else. And the people that consume their rhetoric, they are okay with the fact that these individuals are not authentic in what they believe, because they are still pushing the agenda of white supremacy, bigotry, hatred, and racism. And as long as that agenda is pushed and promoted, they will cover over the sins of Donald Trump. They will make you think somehow that Herschel Walker is actually qualified to be a U.S. senator. They will go to the extreme in order to protect theirs. All right. Rayyvana, thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, firstly, I really enjoyed the audio recording of Ted Cruz saying that Rudy's going to come in and bring the facts, because if
Right.
there's one thing we all know Rudy Giuliani is known for, it's his integrity and his honesty.
Right, exactly.
But, you know, I really did also like the video just showing how two-faced Ted Cruz is. And I mean, how willing he is to debase himself to appease not just Donald Trump, but the Donald Trump supporters. I mean, like you said, he let Donald Trump call his wife ugly and then phone banked for the man. He endorsed him. He campaigned for him. But this type of hypocrisy, this lack of integrity, we see it in these Republican politicians all the time, especially in leaked audio recordings. We saw it with Kevin McCarthy, and particularly pertaining to the election results. We saw all of these Republicans who, representatives specifically, who were willing to vote not to certify the election results, but then behind closed doors, we're getting these leaked tapes of them saying, I know there wasn't anything funny going on in the election. I know that the results are probably right. I know that Trump didn't win, which on one hand concerns me, because it really does show how strong within the Republican Party they see the MAGA base of voters. They're really afraid to go against them, willing to, throw truth out the window in order to appease them. Not that I think they had a super strong relationship with the truth beforehand, but just to see this, extremism within the party and become the forward-facing aspect of the Republican Party is concerning. But, I, on the other hand, when we show this type of hypocrisy, it doesn't seem to have any impact on the Republican voters. It doesn't seem to, the Republicans themselves don't seem to care that they're being hypocritical. They'll do it on the news,
Yep.
back to back. They'll change their opinions from one day to the next. But, I do think it's important to highlight, for these viewers and, for anybody who is less engaged in politics, so that they can see, that there isn't, two equal sides, these two parties who just have ideological differences. Like, this is, a party that promotes fascist ideology. They do not care about telling the truth. And, ultimately, like you mentioned, they're promoting white supremacy within their party.
Yep. Yeah, and we also have an emerging voting class, and that voting class is listening to the propaganda, rhetoric, facts and lies from each side. So we want to make sure we try our best to keep the record straight here.